And we're back to learning HTML canvas. Let us talk about linear gradients. We still have our canvas and the CTX object. I'll create a simple rectangle using FillRect. It's by default black and we don't have to call fill. It's, you could say, inbuilt in FillRect. Let me adjust the position a little bit and I put it in center. Then I'll make it red using FillStyle. You already know how this is done. When you create a gradient, you have a simple function and you have to apply it to our CTX. Let me just call this gradient. So we'll store whatever we create here in gradient. It has by default x and y, which is the start point, and x1, y1, which is the end point. So I've added here placeholders. And you have to manually add your color stops. And then you have to use your gradient variable and apply it to the FillStyle. So we've set it up. Now let me add the color stops. We'll use the gradient variable yet again and then add color stop. You could add multiple, I'll just add 2, the format is always the same. 0 is for the start point, in this case on the left. I'll make it red and the endpoint is at 1, so you could see this as 100% and I'll make this, let's say, black. You can't see it as I haven't yet added my positioning, and this is crucial. The positioning can be seen as absolute in some way, so you have to take care of especially the X position. If I make it from 0 to 150, we're not going to see the effect applied, as our rectangle position doesn't fit with our gradient positions. Let me start in the top left with 1010 for our rectangle. And I'll make it 150 times 100, and now you can see the gradient already. Let me make this one white, and with a white background this gives us transparency. I'll make the red one green, and you can see this is the left one. And I've set the values, can be seen as percentages, so if I make this 0.5, the second color stop moves to the left, and you could add color stops in between by using values between 0 and 1. Let me reposition this to 100 times 100, and you can see it gets cut off. I'll make it 200 for X, it's completely gone. Let us adjust the values step by step. So we are at 1010. Now I'll make this value for X the start point 100, and you can see the gradient has moved to the right. Now I'll make my rectangle move to 100, and it starts at the right position, but it gets cut off on the right because our endpoint is only 200 and our width is 150, so we'll have to increase that value. The Y position is alright, but 200 is too low. Let me make it 150, and you can see it gets cut off even more. So you have to add width to the start point. So 250 would be the lowest, and I make it 300, and we can see our entire gradient again. Let me make it a 200 as the start for a rectangle. A width of 150 would add up to 350, so I'll make my x1 value 400 and we can be sure that everything is covered. If I make it 300, you can see the cutoff yet again, so 350 would be the value that we would need. 400 is big enough to cover that, therefore we can see the gradient. Y position is totally fine in this case, as long as you leave Y1, so the last value, to 0, you can be sure that it's visible. But the moment I start changing this, we get cutoffs yet again. So it's a good idea to leave it at 0. And this is how you can create a linear gradient that goes from left to right or that goes horizontally. I hope this video was helpful, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.